So now that we have made our way out of the Alpine, we've got to try and make our way back through this tunnel. Basically what you need to do is, well, your best bet to get out is to fire a shot with Kilgore, and then you should be able to get out. Because pretty much one Kilgore shot to the fans will lock them out. You have just got to make sure that they do hit. Now, I'm not sure whether you can do this from the other direction, which might make battle earlier a little bit easier, but still.
Back to your old self, are we? Why so glum? Something troubling you?
Only your constant fretting over my state of affairs. I've no time to play games with you.
No need to take out your stress on me, Bayonetta. It's clear you're worried for the girl.
Music for this cutscene is Confrontation with Jean C. And I love this cutscene so much.
Tell me where she is, now!
My, aren't we attached to our precious little one? Do you like it when she calls you Mummy?
You're absolutely delusional. If I leave her, he'll never shut up about it. And his whining is twice as irritating as anything the child could muster.
You've quite the tongue when it comes to curling round the truth.
And what about you? What are you hiding? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think these might mean something to you.
I've no need for worthless junk. I am well aware of my task, but you have forgotten that I do not need your help.
And the music right now is The Falling Valkyrie.
Your little friend is gone forever. Fill them. Fill your eyes with hatred. Accept your violent fate. Accept it and earn the left eye. Prove you deserve it.
And so we have the wonderful red and black returning here, I think. And another fight against Jean! Obviously this is definitely a harder fight than when we fought her the last time, because she's got a few new tricks up her sleeve. But I think one thing I haven't pointed out before about Jean is her guns, which are all for one. and the wording on it is "tout pour un pour tout," which is all for one and one for all. And beneath that you've got D'Artagnan, Athos, I think it's Parthos or Porthos, and Aramis, which are the 4 musketeers. The 3 musketeers plus the extra one, which is just great. I think it's just kind of very clever. And also, all for one were also made by Redux, as you can see on his little sigil on it. And also, Jean decides she's going to get on her bike. Because, you know, this is just totally awesome. Now, thankfully, Kilgore is quite helpful in this fight, although, once again, if you can manage to pull off the Durga combo successfully, then go for it, but I'm not that good at the game. I mean, the thing is that I've pulled off that combo before, it's just kind of, I never seem to be able to do it when I'm facing Jean. Now, I have to say, I do really like this fight. It's just really kind of epic, and if I recall correctly, this was actually going to originally take place on a boat. Essentially, the Valkyrie was going to be a boat and not a plane. Can't quite remember the reasoning as to why they changed that, but that's why we're crashing and with the water and everything. But it's just quite cool. That went remarkably well, all things considered.
Not yet. She isn't ready.
And so we begin the last stretch of chapter 12. Music for this bit is Save Cereza. And be warned, that lightning stuff does hurt you, so try and avoid it as best as possible. Now, apparently you can dodge it if you have Durga equipped on both hands and feet. It has to be the lightning Durga, but I've not found this to be quite as successful as I was led to believe. Now basically the way to switch between fire and lightning Durga is to spin, but yeah. Either way, I've got another Antonio's notes. Treasure of the clans, the eyes of the world. Several hundred years ago, the now vanished clans of the Umbra Witches and Lumen Sages stood as overseers of time immemorial, thriving from their remote European base known as Vigrid. However, their reign quickly came to a close via a violent war that ended in their mutual destruction. Their war, lasting for 100 years, saw the witches and their campaign of assassination pushed them to the brink of victory. Yet, the papal sphere of these powerful women spawned the witch hunts, and eventually both clans vanished into the aether. Long serving the powers that be, it is said that the clans did not use their power to interfere with history, but rather protect its passage. We are told that they carried out these duties via the eyes of the world. Yet what this statement means is anyone's guess. What is clear is that the clan's very existence was closely linked to the historical change, so much so that even kings and emperors feared the clan's power. There were 2 eyes of the world, one each controlled by the witches and the sages, which when used together were able to carry out their stated task of overseeing. To prevent the power of these eyes from being used for nefarious purposes, they were split and iterations were banned. The irony is that the grand war that led to the clan's destruction was sparked by these very treasures. After their downfall, the eyes of the world suddenly disappeared, and information is extremely limited. What sort of item was the eye? Were the eyes? What shape did they take? All this remained unknown. The black market recently saw a large gemstone come onto the market bearing the name of the Eyes of the World. Although it may be different item under the same name, or even a mafia scam meant to gauge market reaction. There's no proof that the ancient treasure was actually a gem, but there is reliable, albeit troubling information regarding the treasure and the CEO of the Ithobal Group. It said that he is in search, blah 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 blah. Yeah, you get the picture. Although, kind of, if you notice what it's saying now, basically this is a precursor to information that we're probably going to find out later.
Little one, where are you? Little one, can you hear me?
Mummy! Mummy!
Ah, thank gosh, we found Cereza.
Teresa!
Mummy! I was so scared.
No crying now, little one. You know the rules. No cockroaches or crying babies. Time to go, little one. Hold on tight, okay?
Okay.
Oh, Cereza's so adorable. Now, one thing that I haven't pointed out at this point is Cereza's name. So basically it means cherry in Spanish. But originally, Kamiya-san wanted to name her after cherry blossoms. Because that is a big thing in Japan. I love cherry blossoms, they're wonderful. But cherry blossom in Spanish is cerezo, which isn't really a feminine sounding name. So they changed it to Cereza. I mean, they could have gone for Sakura, which is cherry blossom in Japanese, but clearly they wanted a European name, European sounding name. So obviously they'll come from Europe. Now, at this point I should have just kind of given up using Durga because it was not assisting me at all. I think that, yeah, here we go. Because I was under the impression that having Durga on would help. Clearly not. But oh well, if you just kind of stay far enough ahead, then you won't really have to worry about it. Now, something that kind of is kind of very noticeable about Bayonetta is that it's relatively bug-free. I mean, I don't think I've ever kind of ran into a bug at all. And I think that's because they did such a fantastic job with kind of getting rid of it all. One of the programmers, Kenji Saito, did a blog post which was gave some insights into bug checking, and basically Bayonetta was a really large program to create, so there was took a lot of effort to debug, and once it had all of the features in place, it took a grand total of 2 months to check for bugs. And bug checking included all the members of the development team, plus numerous Q&A testers from outside the company, all working approximately 10 hours a day. And there were a lot of bugs. And also, there is another type of bug that exists, according to Sato-san. And that's that Kamiya-san likes to change the game design by calling certain issues bugs. And by adding things at the very end, it may make the game more fun, but it also could add a number of bugs. So that happens a lot. But I have to say, I've not really come across any bugs in Bayonetta, which is incredibly impressive for a game these days. You don't really get games that are kind of as well constructed anymore, because games have loads of bugs. I mean, even Platinum's most recent Metal Gear Rising Revengeance had bugs in it. So I guess kind of They just put in a ridiculous amount of effort into Bayonetta, and it's so worth it. Just absolutely well and truly. I'm so glad they did put as much effort in as they did, because it is simply wonderful. And that's another platinum in the bag. Oh yeah. I'm very proud of this run of Bayonetta. I'm doing a lot better than I could have ever hoped for, really. Because at this point in my last playthrough of it, I already had a couple of goals overall, because I just couldn't get the platinums, and I just couldn't cope with replaying the chapters anymore. So I'm quite happy that this is going so well. So, now that chapter 12's done, it's time to move on to chapter 13, which, if you spotted an enemy that turned up in the last chapter, is the cardinal virtue of prudence.